welcome to the City of New Ulm Park and Rec Commission meeting, August 11th, 2014. Please note that a quorum is present. The approval and amendment of the August 11, 2014 agenda. Anybody have any questions or comments about it? Hearing none, a motion to accept would be in order.
I make a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the August 11, 2014 agenda. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The approval of the July 14th minutes as sent to us over the weekend. Any questions, comments, corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the July 14th would be in order.
I so move.
A second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the July 14, 2014 minutes. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Review and order file the July 2014 Department Activity Report. Any questions or comment about that? Mr. Schmitz or anyone?
Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners, the department has nothing else to add to the July activity report.
Okay. Will motion to order it filed be in order?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded ordering the filing of the July 2014 Department Activity Report. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. The City Council meeting recaps. Director Schmitz.
Thank you, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners. There's been 2 City Council meetings since our last Commission meeting. The July 15th City Council meeting saw nothing specific to our department. The August 5th 2014 regular City Council meeting saw the City Council accept the donations that you recommended they accept. They also granted a temporary liquor license to the Herman Monument Society for the upcoming festival, Herman Fest 2014, at Herman Heights Park and Harmon Park, Saturday, September 6th. That concludes our business that the City Council has conducted for us over the past month.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Schmitz or comments? All right. The first business on the agenda is item number 6. Is to consider recommending City Council award the Minicon Water Park Access Site Improvement Project and authorize the city to pay for the construction services. Mr. Schmitz.
Thank you, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners. This is a bit of old business. We've been working on this project for about a year in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. They approached us about a year ago with an interest in partnering to improve the water access site at Minicon Park. And the project basically entails surveying the site and then paving the lower parking lot, removing the existing boat ramp, and placing a new boat ramp out into the channel, kind of off the point. The old boat ramp was basically unusable for most of the year except during very high water. And then an invasive species wash-off site and a couple of other minor amenities. So the plans and specifications have been completed and the project was bid out. We had 2 bids that were opened recently, and 1 bid from a local firm, MR Paving, came in at $223,041, and then a higher bid from Peterson Companies out of Chisago City was little over $314,000. The Minnesota Department of Natural Resources has offered the city $250,000, $250,000 to complete this project, and we've already spent about $25,000 of that on engineering and design services. So you can basically see that we also have already, the City Council has authorized the city paying a little over $5,100 for purchasing wetland credits necessary because part of the construction is in a wetland area. And so there are two aspects that have not been funded yet. And Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, in conjunction with the U.S. Coast Guard, that is offering this $250,000 grant funding to us, maxed out at that dollar amount. There's two elements left of the project that are unfunded. The first element is the construction services portion, construction administration, which could be up to $30,000 to hire the design firm of Bolton and Mink to continue the project through the construction phase and see it to fruition. And then there was an alternate placed into the bid package. The state and feds would only consider the water access site portion of the project. They would not consider the upper parking lot that services the picnic shelter area and what we'll call the small upper picnic area. And so, as you recall, Minicon Park, the entrance road is paved on the way in, and then the upper parking lot is gravel, but the lower parking area will be paved for the project. So that's what it'll look like, unless the city decides to fund the alternate number one at about $42,300. So funding is available in our fund balance, or some people refer to it as the reserves. It's officially referred to as the Park and Recreation Fund. 215 is the number. Our fund balance is healthy. It ended this past year of 2013 with over $1.5 million. And the state auditor views that as the upper end of a recommended range of 30 to 50% in fund balances. Mm-hmm. So if you pan down to page 4.1 of the plan in your PDF, and then you have to rotate it. I'm sorry, let's see here. 90 degrees. That's got the kind of the design page that we're talking about. So you can see on that where the upper parking area is, and that's the $43,000 approximately. So that in a nutshell is where we're at today. I'm recommending that you authorize both of those two elements, the up to $30,000 for construction services and the $42,300 for alternate one. And that's my recommendation. You could also decide simply to fund the construction services portion of up to $29,600. And then that upper parking lot would remain gravel, mm-hmm. and there would be pavement on either side of it.
Yeah. And that's the part that would be awkward, because you're coming in, the road is blacktop, you'd come into the parking area, and that would be gravel, and then you come down, and that's all blacktop.
Down near the river.
Down near the river, yeah. So it would appear that common sense should say that we should probably take a look at blacktopping the parking lot on top as well, because the improvement on that would be minimal. You wouldn't have to worry about gravel being, whatever happens to gravel, thrown around. Here you'd have a hard surface, easier to maintain, and occasionally you'd have to seal it. But that should be minimal compared to doing the gravel. And then down the road, when costs are higher, you could decide then to blacktop it. But by that time, you'd have a lot more money that you'd have to probably pay to do that. Yes.
I actually have a question. Minicon is one of those parks that definitely gets flooding issues. This year, the whole lower level was completely flooded out. Am I correct on that?
Yes, Commissioner Carlson and Commissioners, that lower parking lot normally floods annually.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the purpose of tarring that then is to reduce waste or erosion into the river? Or, why would the plan include the tar if we know it's going to annually flood?
My understanding is that the engineers and the design of the parking lot, that the bituminous would secure that and harden the area, so to speak, and also eliminate gravel from washing into the river. And it's designed in such a way that water would sheet off. You know, there wouldn't be ponding water on the parking lot, and there's no significant structures planned in the floodway there. It's just would be a pretty flat plain.
But what I'm getting at is all this investment and what we're planning on doing will be able to handle the flooding and not get damaged.
That is my understanding, yes.
Any other questions or comments of Mr. Schmitz? Okay, we have two options in terms of a motion. The first one is to recommend the City Council award the water access improvement project to M&R as a low bidder at the dollar amount of $223,041.12 and authorize Park and Rec fund balances to pay Bolton and Mank approximately $29,600 for professional construction service. Or recommend the City Council award the Minicon to M&R for the dollar amount and authorize the Park and Rec Department's fund balance reserve to pay Bolton and Mank approximately $29,600 for professional construction service, and additionally $42,296.69 to M&R for paving for alternate one, or I guess I was calling it option one, but alternate one. That would be the upper parking lot area. So those would be the two considerations that we should examine, and if we pass, whichever one we pass this evening will probably come before the City Council at next Tuesday's meeting. And in taking a look at, I think the work schedule was probably October. Is that what the reference is in your?
Yes, Acting
that's right.
Chair Rockvam
Okay.
and Commissioners, the planned construction would be in that late September and October
Okay,
in conference with MR Paving.
yes.
So
And they have considered this, they have it on their work schedule so that it is a feasible and a real thing, depending upon which option we'd like to pursue at this time.
Yes, it's a type of a construction project that would be best completed in the autumn.
Right. So, here we are at 12 minutes after 4, pondering. No, that's what the water would do, be pondering. But thinking, which one, I know it, Gene, which one is the one that we should consider at this time?
Well, Acting Chairman Rockman, I think what this discussion is leading us to that recommendation under the or, and that we also do the paving of the parking lot, and I would move.
All right, we've had recommended to the City Council that we do the M&R project and Bolton Menk, and also then the 42,296.69 to M&R paving for alternate number 1. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that to recommend the City Council award the Minicon Park Water Access Site Improvement Project to low bidder MR Paving in the amount of $223,041.12 and authorize the Park and Recreation Department's fund balance reserve to pay Bolton and Menk approximately $29,600 for professional construction services, and additionally $42,296.69 to M&R Paving for alternate number 1. Any other discussion, comments, questions?
Just one comment. I think to not pave the upper end would create more maintenance for the lower end.
I agree with Dennis, very much so. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Item number 7, consider recommending the acceptance of donations. Mr. Schmitz?
Thank you, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners. This month, as often is the case, there's been a number of donations offered to the city through the Park and Recreation Department, and I'll read those into the record for you now. First of all, $200 cash from Myron Wieland in memory of Linus and Mary Wyman for a tree planting. And then at the BMX park, there's $450 of in-kind worth of materials, construction materials, from Stimpert Enterprises. And then for the Herman Run sponsorships upcoming this autumn, $150 cash from each of the three organizations. First one is the Bob Webb Insurance Agency, also Erickson Construction, and thirdly, Happy Joe's Pizza. That's $150 cash from each of them for the Herman Run sponsorship, which is coming up the first Saturday of Oktoberfest. And then the annual Winter Skate with Santa sponsorships, we have $200 cash from 3M Community Giving Team. The seventh donation is a Healthy Activity Grant, $1,000 cash for free yoga classes in the park and pickleball equipment from Alina Health and the New Ulm Medical Center. The eighth donation is for the dog park, and that's a $200 cash donation from Jeff Golden, which has funded the refuse bags and the waste bags in the waste container. And the final donation this month is offered to German Park Improvements, and that's a $50 cash donation from Hobart and Charlotte Anderson and the Friends of German Park. That concludes the offers of donations. It's $2,100 in cash, $450 total value of in-kind donation, for a grand total of $2,550 for all the donations.
And you send out the letters of thank you?
Our honorable mayor does that.
The honorable mayor does
for
that.
the city.
Oh, okay.
And, I recommend that you forward this on to the city council for their acceptance.
Okay, let's move and second and pass this one, should we?
Okay.
It's free money.
I so move.
Both,
Okay.
and a second? Second, okay. It's been moved and seconded to recommend the city council accept the following donations that we just talked about. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 8, consider entering into partnership with the New Ulm Baseball Association to create a master plan for 75-year-old Johnson Park. Mr. Schmitz.
Thank you, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners. Yes, our infamous and famous Johnson Park is 75 years old this year, and it's still growing strong and being used quite heavily during the baseball season. There is no known master plan for Johnson Park. I think we all understand the situation of the restrooms and the non-code compliant accessibility. It is our premier baseball venue, and other improvement ideas are many. We've had some money set aside for improving the restrooms and the accessibility at that park for a couple of years now. And in conjunction with discussions I've had with the New Ulm Baseball Association, they'd like to see a master plan created before we do anything down there. And I have agreed with them, and that's why I'm bringing it to you for your consideration. Steps in the process would include preparation of a request for proposal that would list the details of a park plan, and then soliciting the proposals, receiving and reviewing the proposals, and determining which design firm we'd like to hire, and then awarding the project. I anticipate this could take us throughout the winter.
Oh, sure.
The New Ulm Baseball Association, whose president I see has just arrived at the meeting, Mr. Bob Skillings, has told me that there are funds available to partner with the city
Good.
on paying for this project.
Good.
The actual cost is yet to be determined,
Sure.
but I think that it's a very wise step to take to create a master plan for that area, and then we can move forward with implementing that. And I think one of the first elements will be restrooms and accessibility.
Probably, yeah. You know, it was such a great day that when they had the celebration, the event down at the park, and then the evening festivities later on at Turner Hall were done wonderfully. And you know, hurrahs to Mr. Skillings and the group that put that on. It was done very professionally, and having been a member of a championship team back in 1951, it even was a little deeper into the heart, you know, yeah. But I think this is a great plan that, you know, a Johnson Park needs a master plan. And I think that the two of you getting together, meshing ideas, and will be wonderful to continue the progress of such a great facility. Oh, we need a motion and a second.
I have a comment yet.
Okay, a comment.
So do you.
Yes.
Oh,
Go ahead.
You had your hand up.
Well, okay, my big thing about Johnson Park is I think that it's really a historically important park to our city. And right now, do we know, is it like a historic preservation site? Has any of that been taken under consideration?
Commissioner Carlson and commissioners, that would be part of the study.
Okay.
My understanding is that it is a Works Progress Administration project, that the WPA was involved
Yes.
in the creation of that baseball park. So that will be just part of the study
Yeah.
and master plan.
Mr. Bourne?
Yeah, I have no objection to a master plan, I think when it's needed, but every time the word partnership comes up, I wonder exactly what we are saying. A legal partnership or a cooperative effort? I think we need a definition of that.
Commissioner Bourne and commissioners, I would say maybe cooperative effort is maybe a more
Yeah.
appropriate term, yes. It's not a legal partnership, no, it's just an effort that we will work on together cooperatively. And also, when those proposals come in, you know, they will come before the Park Commission for review, and I will ask for your assistance in reviewing those and actually choosing a firm and awarding the project.
I would then like to make a motion to change the word partnership to cooperative effort.
Okay, if that's your motion, then we would need a second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded and recommended the Park and Recreation Department enter into a cooperative
Planning cooperative.
Cooperative effort.
effort with the New Ulm Baseball Association to create a master plan for Johnson Park. Does that sit okay with people in the commission? Hearing no objections, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Okay, now we go back, scooting up, and
We have to approve the total proposal.
right. The addendum?
Amendment.
Yes, excuse me, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners. That last motion was simply to put the words cooperative effort into the action form, and if now you would choose to approve the action form, we can actually begin the process of beginning the master plan or writing up the RFP.
So you need to call for a motion on the proposed action.
Well, that's part of the to create a master plan for Johnson Park was the last part of the motion, which, yeah.
The motion was for amending
The word
the word
partnership.
partnership into
Partnership.
cooperative
So we took
effort.
out that word and put
I didn't put in the, that we are amending, I just didn't send into a partnership. I
just-
didn't read that part of it.
He just
I read it.
changed, yeah, he just inserted your
Your
word
your
into the
words for it.
motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we didn't have a vote on the amendment.
No.
What it was, what I have recorded was that the motion was made by Bourne and seconded by Roloff to recommend the Park and Rec Department enter into a cooperative effort with the New Ulm Baseball Association to create a master plan for Johnson Park. Is that
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. What everybody would
And-
like?
Two birds, one stone.
yeah.
Okay,
All right.
And we voted on it, and
okay.
everybody thought it was good. Yeah. So, That's it. Next item, Mr. Schmitz.
Yes, thank you, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners. Just a little update on the 2015 budget. The 2015 budget is still being reviewed by staff and the city manager's office and the finance director's office. I will have something in writing for you next month. There's a few, significant repair and replacement projects in the proposed budget at this point, including some money towards the playground at Herman Heights Park and some improvements to shelters and additions to some parks to have small open shelters for shade and so on. And so our philosophy remains to repair and replace what we have without adding significantly to the system. And if any commissioners have specific ideas, comments, or questions, they can direct those to me anytime. And look forward to a preliminary budget being presented to you next month.
Good. Okay. Then the Commission Education Discussion Topic Survey and System Master Plan Update.
Yes, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners, we have had a work session, as you know, this past Friday, and we spent most of that work session on the survey. And some changes have been made thanks to the intern from the medical center. And we're just kind of putting some finishing touches on that and final review on that to get it back out to you for final adoption in hopes that we have the survey in place from mid-September through mid-October, as we had discussed at the work session. The draft system master plan is on the flash drives and in your computer. If you have an interest in taking a peek at that, it's still a work in progress, and it's something that we'll be continuing to work on for the next few months.
Okay.
Should
Any
I go?
questions?
Any questions on that or comments on the work session?
None. Next, reports.
Certainly. Some of the projects that have been completed over the past month or so include the dog park fencing and signage. The donor sign is up, recognizing the various donors to the dog park. Also, all the green metal in German Park has been repainted professionally and commercially. The capstones have been replaced around the German Park Pavilion. The granite capstones replacing the original ones that had degraded. The Girls Fast Pitch Softball Association has completed the installation of the 2 scoreboards at Harmon Park. Irrigation on 2 fields at Harmon Park is complete, and if you drive by there, you can see that that's the only part of the park that's green.
Yeah.
The second of 3 fields is being irrigated this week at North Park, so that's coming along well. And then the South Garden Street repairs and renovations have been completed, if you've been driven on South Garden Street at all in the past week or 2. Some projects in progress include the partial playground replacement at North Park. And I'll touch on that briefly here. I know we've discussed that in the past as a commission. And we're replacing a non-compliant playground piece in the upper portion of the park. It is within view of the shelter. There will be some selective pruning and harvesting of the trees in that area, so the sight line will be acceptable between the shelter and the playground.
Good.
And there simply was no room around the shelter to add a significant playground piece with all the activity during the baseball season that takes place right around the shelter. So we're looking forward to that being completed before the snow flies. My understanding is the Nels Park Water Tower is complete or nearing completion, or it's in its testing phases. And so I think the Public Utilities Commission will be removing the Herman Heights Water Tower over the next 6 to 10 months. Might be a winter project. Lights are being installed at the skate park and the basketball court of Riverside Park, so that enthusiasts can be active in the evening hours during the spring and the autumn. Ramp repairs at the BMX park are continuing, tree planting, picnic table replacements, an ice compressor replacement at the Civic Center. The Buckthorn volunteer program continues, and there's a special competition. If you're at all interested in that, we've got more details that's coming over the next 6 weeks. And we're excited to partner with the Lose It to Win It program, Hearts Beat Back, Heart of New Ulm, for the outdoor fitness equipment that has been ordered at a discount in conjunction with the North Park playground replacement. That outdoor fitness equipment will be installed around the playground in Harmon Park.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be completed this autumn also. The autumn-winter program brochure is nearing completion and will be distributed later on this month of August. You can see the list of planning programs in process. I won't discuss ones that we already have talked about today. Outdoor tennis court resurfacing I have not mentioned. And you know, that's about it. The Friends of German Park are continuing to look for donations for the replacement of the amphitheater at German Park. We have no Eagle Scout projects going at this time. And there is something else that the New Ulm Bicycle Group is going to be presenting to us in the coming months, and that is a request to seek bicycle-friendly community status from the League of American Bicyclists. And there's a website there if you have an interest in looking further at this at this time. A number of options for community involvement and funding and donations and partnerships include scoreboards at some of our areas, mini shelters, trees, benches, playground pieces, and programs. So that's all I have for updates at this moment from the department.
Any commissioner report that they'd like to offer at this time? Hearing none, the next meeting will be September 8th, 2014 at 4 p.m.
Excuse me, Acting Chair, are we gonna?
Yeah, we're going to go
okay,
to
thank
that,
you.
know, yeah. Okay, the next item is the addendum. I need a motion to suspend the rules for action on the addendum.
I move.
A second?
Second.
It's been moved and second to suspend the rules for action on the addendum. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion is carried. The item is consider recommending the City Council authorize placing flower planters in the German Street right-of-way at the German Bohemian Monument in German Park. Mr. Schmitz.
Thank you, Acting Chair Rackfam and Commissioners. An overview of this request is the fact that the German Bohemian Monument at 200 North German Street has various landscaping, flowers, and plantings around it. A portion of this area has been recommended for an upgrade by citizen resident Joel Albrecht and the German Bohemian Heritage Society. The proposed upgrade consists of elevated concrete block flower planters, one in the northwest corner and one in the southwest corner of the monument area. Now this just happens to fall within the right-of-way, and city ordinance does not allow placing structures in the right-of-way without city council authorization. My understanding is that costs for these flower planters would be donated, and maintenance issues should be minimal for the city because volunteers are very involved with that type of work. And you have 5 photographs that show the area and vicinity. The first 4 photographs show that. And then the 5th and final photograph shows an example of this concrete block retaining wall structure that has basically hollow concrete blocks in which flowers would be planted in there. And I know we have Joel Albrecht here that's interested in speaking to this.
Oh. Can I ask a quick question
Yeah.
before you speak? When you say right-of-way, I don't understand because it's just a sidewalk. There's no right-of-way of vehicles or traffic besides. So explain the right-of-way issue.
Certainly, Commissioner Carlson and Commissioners, the right-of-way is the area that the city owns, and that usually extends into the property from the sidewalk. It's not at the curb or what some people refer to as the boulevard or the sidewalk. The right-of-way is the entire space that the city owns that the road is a portion of. So the right-of-way on German Street goes basically to the bushes. If you look at the picture that has the frame that has 4 photographs, the upper left and the bottom right photo shows kind of a flower ground level planting area. That is within the city right-of-way, the street right-of-way.
Well, what about the trash can?
That is within the street right-of-way, but it's not considered a permanent structure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And these planters would be permanent.
They would be considered a
Got it.
structure, a permanent structure.
Now I
Okay,
get it. I had
Mr.
the same
Albrecht.
question.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for the addendum, or taking a look at the addendum. Going back to 2003, shortly after taking the mayor's office, I made some very few foolish comments at the city council meeting directed at the chamber and its manager at that time. Well, I am paying the price for those comments today as I continue to water the flowers on Broadway and Minnesota Street. Watering flowers is kind of a mindless job. And so you do have time to think about other things and take a look around. And if you ever go past the German Bohemia Monument, you'll see we have 2 premier weed gardens right virtually on the street. So if standing there one day trying to water them, I thought of the retaining wall that I have in front of my home. And you can see the block is hollow. Now, visiting with the German Bohemians and some other interested people, we said, well, why don't we just throw some money in a pot and go ahead and do it and get it done. Well, now we have a federal case on our hand as well. And that's why I'm before you and the city council, I imagine, and I don't know who else. And it's kind of hard to give money away. But anyway, it's this right-of-way business. The fly in the ointment, before we go any further, is these blocks, which would be perfect in this location, are no longer available. They're not manufactured by anybody. So, and I found that out just on Saturday. So we don't really know what we're asking other than the use of the right-of-way. And what form that is going to take, I have no idea. So if you looking at those pictures, you'll see that the best part of anything in the whole area is the wood chips right next to the sidewalk as you walk down into German Park, which is your top left-hand picture. And to the right of that, between those paver block and the cement, has been a no man's land forever. I have planted flowers, I've weeded, I've dug it up, I've fertilized, And a number of other people have done exactly the same thing. And about the time you get something growing there, or in the location on the bottom right picture, somebody walks over it, somebody tramples it, bikes go over it, and everything is destroyed. And you start over again. And finally, everybody gets tired of it, and nothing really can be done. Now, the proposal was to cover that with that retaining wall so that the wall could be planted in flowers, and then the top in the picture of my home, where I have rock in there, that would also be flowers. So where this is all going to go, one proposal was to put in planters like we have on Broadway, those long, narrow planters, put one of those on each side, use a round type planter or two, as we have on Minnesota Street, or a different block configuration or something. And so to give you a definitive answer of what this thing is going to look like cannot be done right now. But in any event, it will have to have the approval of the German Bohemian Society, which is very concerned with how that whole area looks. I'm sure it will be brought back to you again, and if there are any questions whatsoever, please let us know. And right now we're just hoping to try and get it started so that we can move forward and get it done and get rid of the weeds, probably have something looking good for Oktoberfest.
What would be the approximate size of each one of these?
Okay, if you look at the top left picture, that green area is about 4 feet wide and 6 feet long. In other words, long, going 6 feet from the sidewalk to the bushes.
Okay.
If you look at the bottom right, there again we have approximately the same thing, only the bush is encroached in the planting area, and that's about 5 feet in depth. So how the bushes will be trimmed or what would happen, I don't have an idea. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure Mr. Schmitz would give us very good guidance and let us know what would be best for the park and its beauty.
Okay, any questions that you have of Mr. Albrecht?
Joel, the top left where that mulch is,
Yes.
that would be covered by planters up to the walkway then? No?
In all of our discussion up until today, it was not.
Okay.
Because you see that those wood chips follow the curvature of the descent of the sidewalk going down the hill. Now it probably could be cut off where the bushes are, and something done with it there, or I don't know. That's another question that hasn't been addressed. But as you look at it today, that's the best looking part of the entire area.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I'm not a Bohemian German, I'm a Prussian German, if that's okay to comment on it.
I don't believe I'm a Bohemian either.
But you're saying you're not planning at this time to do anything with the area that has the wood chips?
Just the grass.
Looking at further toward where the sidewalk goes down the stairway,
Yeah,
it looks like there might be some erosion problem there.
there is.
And if you're planning something, why don't you take a look at that whole area between the three sides of the concrete and the downhill to do something right in the first place?
Well, now, Mr. Commissioner, I agree with you. But on the other hand, the resources of these few people that were going to throw $50 apiece or something into the project may not be able to handle this. I don't know how it's going to be paid for. But as a citizen, I would certainly encourage this commission to go into your reserve fund and probably come up with a couple of bucks to do one thing or another with it and make it a bit more permanent.
$2? That's all you need?
Well,
Couple of
a
bucks,
couple.
you said.
In
essence, you
city
wanna-
terms, having been at that table, a couple is more like 2,000 or 20,000. You know, those are a couple of bucks.
Now, the original plan was just to be in the grass area, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I think that's what we should work at this time, to consider that being the area.
Well, Mr. Chairman, basically, I guess the most reasonable request we have right now is for the encroachment of the right-of-way so that something could be done in that right-of-way area. And what is going to be done, if it's going to be cemented or whatever, even a planter right now would have to have that easement.
Are we looking for a motion on that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at the motion is to recommend to the city council authorizing placing flower planters in the German Street right-of-way at the German Bohemian Monument in German Park. And, I think we have to discuss as we go along with the program, the size of it. Mr. Schmitz.
Yes, Acting Chair Rockvam and Commissioners, I think that is the important aspect here, is just to figure out if you wish to recommend use of the right-of-way for
Correct.
beautification purposes, flower structure in this area. The actual details of the structure don't need to be
Today.
ironed out yet. And the society doesn't want to spend time, money, or energy on that if they don't have permission to use the right-of-way in the first place. So that's the first and only real question at this point in time. The other aspect I would mention is that whatever is proposed there or completed there, my understanding is that it'll be symmetrical. Whatever is done on the south side will be done on the north side, and it'll look very symmetrical. Commissioner Bourne's comments on erosion is very important, and we will certainly review that and propose amendments to make sure, amendments to the soil or the ground to make sure that erosion is controlled.
I have a question. Since this is at the top of a hill, have you ever thought of just cementing it and putting park benches there so that people can rest as they reach the top of the steps?
That's another wonderful option.
Okay.
And somebody said, well, why don't we just put on a planter with a wider cap so that the dirt would be inside the planter, 2 walls or 4 walls where you could plant flowers, and then people could also sit there. And yeah, that wouldn't bother me. It'd be a nice, clean
So, Mr. Schmitz,
operation.
with your big Park and Rec budget, would you be willing to help this cause out and give them some money for these planters?
Commissioner Carlson, Acting Chair Rockvam, and Commissioners, I think the question before you today is whether or not to recommend the City Council authorizes a structure, a flower planting structure to be placed in the right-of-way.
I would so move.
And a second?
I second his diplomatic answer.
It's been moved and second to recommend the city council authorize placing flower planters in the German right-of-way at the German Bohemian Monument area in German Park. Any other discussion, comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll oppose. Just because.
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Corman, you please call the roll.
Commissioner Bourne,
Aye.
Commissioner Carlson,
well, nay.
Commissioner Rockvam,
Yes.
Commissioner Sledadal,
Yes.
Commissioner Baumgart,
Yes.
Commissioner Marty Borstead,
Yes.
Commissioner Roloff.
Yes.
The motion is carried by more than a unanimous vote.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yeah.
if this ever comes to fruition, I would hope that we would have a plaque attached to whatever is built, and that Commissioner Carlson gets the proper notice for having voted against the project.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Is there any other business that should come before the commission this evening? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.